Hi everyone, a couple of months ago I purchased my 2025 Toyota Land Cruiser, and having done 3,500 miles, I'm now qualified to make a proper likes and dislikes video. So without any further ado, let's jump to it. The car has phenomenal cabin ergonomics, and hear me out. You have this gigantic gear shifter, which a lot of times you can rest your hand on. And guess what? If you want to adjust your climate controls, you just rest your hand on the gear shifter and you easily adjust the climate controls. But then it gets better. If you want to adjust something on the touch screen, usually when you have a flat screen in front of you, you kind of have to float your hand here and everything is shaky. No, in here, you rest your hand on this little soft shelf that you have in front of this touchscreen, and you can easily move your finger without having it shake. This in itself is a great selling point if you're considering this car versus a GX 460, because the GX 460 has a flat touchscreen, including the climate controls, which to me is not as easy to use as this. You would think that a body-on-frame vehicle would be uncomfortable and whatnot, but it's not. Yes, it's got 20-inch optional wheels, which probably are a little more bumpy than the 18-inch wheels that you can downsize. And you do get that sort of that butt shake sometimes when you're making a turn and you hit a bump, like a cat shaking its booty. But it's nice because it all feels controlled. You feel like you have this mass that's sort of flowing in a very controllable way, and it's quite enjoyable. And when you do take those family trips, miles per gallon is important. I recently took a family trip from New Jersey to South Carolina, about 700 miles or so. And my average, I kid you not, was 23 miles to the gallon, which is great for this ultra heavy four-cylinder hybrid. The four-cylinder hybrid definitely helps get that fuel economy. Yes, when you step on it, it worsens. But if you drive within the speed limit, if you draft a little bit between cars, you get really, really good fuel economy. I don't want to date myself, but this car has just the right amount of technology. And I'm not talking about an amazing hybrid four-cylinder engine. No, I'm talking about the tech that you are surrounded with. I have an awesome digital cluster in front of me. I have an awesome head-up display in front of me, but I also have an awesome digital screen and physical button controls. The physical buttons give me just the right amount of configuration, from heated to cooled seats to all the climate, heated steering wheel. You've got your camera button up here and all your driving modes down here. You don't have to go through the screen to get to all the modes. Everything is right here. And I feel like all the right buttons are physical, which is great. I also appreciate the rear view mirror, because when you load up the trunk, obviously you block your vision. When you flick this little button here, it quickly switches it to a digital vision. There's a camera that's located in the back, and it kind of hops over whatever you have in the trunk, and it gives you the view outside of the car, which is great. I used it on my trip when I loaded up the car full of stuff, and it worked great. Driving this car in general makes me a better and a calmer driver. A lot of times I find myself sticking to the right lane, driving the speed limit, maybe a little over the speed limit, and enjoying the ride, because it really puts me in a better mood. When I drive this car, driving it is very relaxing. And when I did take that 10-hour road trip in this car down to South Carolina, I wanted the trip to last a little longer because I really enjoyed driving it. I'm a visual creature, and I will be lying to you if I told you that I didn't like the way this car looks. I actually absolutely love the way this car looks, especially that boxy design. I love how squarish it is. I love that very vertical looking windshield. The thing that strikes me the most is the wide body. You can see these flared fenders. Not as aggressive maybe as you get on a 4Runner, but this is wide and classy. I'm a simple man, and I love the fact that this car has a physical oil dipstick, so you can quickly check your oil level. Let's first quickly address some of the dislikes that everyone talks about, and we'll do it very quickly. Windshield noise is there, but that is easily remedied by getting these Amazon rubber strips. I'm going to link them down in the description. The fuel tank is very small, but I still get about 324 miles of range on the tank, so it's not too bad because I don't drive very aggressively. Wireless charger does not seem to work well, which is why I use a supplemental charging cable. And yes, the engine noise does not sound the best, but it's not bad, so don't listen to Jason Camisa. Oh, and also you have a physical prop stick as opposed to having hood struts. While I love most of the safety features in this car, some get really annoying. For example, if you want to back up with your door open, let's say you don't want to get your sleeve dirty or your head is not long or big enough to see where the tire is, you want to open the door and you put the car in reverse. See, it prevents you from doing so. So it moves about an inch or so, and then it says that you cannot do that. You have to close the door, put the car in park, reverse, and now you can do that. It's quite annoying. Even though the visibility is fantastic in the front, the side mirrors are long, but they're not wide enough. They do need to be a little wider. I wish they maybe decrease the bezel a little bit and increase the size of the glass. Maybe there's an aftermarket solution that helps us with that. I don't understand how you can sell a $72,000 vehicle without rear seat heating. Luckily, I have a solution here for you. I'm going to be retrofitting rear seat heating in the next couple of weeks, so stay tuned for that. Yes, it would be nice to have a set of proper paddle shifters, especially when you're driving on curvy roads, but I know why they did it. They wanted to extract as much efficiency out of this four-cylinder hybrid motor. Now, speaking of hybrid, I wish this car was more of a proper hybrid as opposed to a hybrid assist. Yes, it helps you when you get stuck at a red light, and then when you get going, it kind of kicks in. It helps you when you accelerate because the hybrid component is located between the engine and the transmission, so it kind of helps you assist, but there's no actual electric motors attached to the wheels. You do have that option in the 4xe Wrangler, which I rented a couple of months ago, and I absolutely hated the car. But I like the technology. You had a regen button, which means you could do a proper one-footed driving. You could regen enough battery, or you can plug it in to drive on fully electric for 20 or 30 something miles. I wish that hybrid Land Cruiser had that option because you would get a lot more efficiency out of this already efficient car. This one might be just me, but in the beginning, when I first got the car, I kept walking away from it with the engine on because when I quickly put the car in park, I would press the tow haul button as opposed to the power button. They're so close to each other that sometimes I would miss it and I would put the car in park, put it in tow haul just to walk out and realize that the car is still running. This might be just me, but let me know if you're having the same issues. So was it worth me selling my 2023 BMW M5 Competition with 700 wheels horsepower and get this? Absolutely. There's not one day where I regret my decision. I get in this car and I am happy. I am happy that I can sit higher. I am happy that I'm getting into something that's reliable. I'm happy that I'm getting into something that feels special. Every journey, every time you get in there, every time you turn the wheel, feels like an adventure. It feels special. And these cars are not very common. You don't often see these cars, at least in my neighborhood. A lot of people get the 4Runners, but I feel like the Land Cruiser, especially the 250 Land Cruiser, is not very popular, which is why I like it. I do like the four-cylinder motor. I love the technology behind it. Yes, I could have gotten the Lexus, but I didn't want the potential and reliability of that V6. I also didn't think it was necessary for me to pay at least $20,000 extra to get the Lexus badge. I really do enjoy the ergonomics of this cabin. Everything is easily accessible, whereas the Lexus, it has a full digital screen. And this car screams sort of low-key coolness, which is what I'm all about. And trust me, this is not me making excuses, because I could have gotten any car really that I wanted. My wife really had no objections in me getting a car. Maybe the closest to the experience you get in this car is a G-Wagon, but that's a lot more expensive, and it's also unnecessarily expensive for what you get. So I was perfectly happy getting this, and I absolutely love every single moment of me driving it. Now, I still haven't figured out how to properly get out of the car. That's gonna take some practice. And I also don't mind the higher trunk floor. I put a step there for my kids, and that solves that issue. Toyota quality has been great, and it's so cool how easy it is to disassemble. When I had the car fully PPF'd, all the pieces came off, and it's very easy to snap things off. It's very easy to snap things on. I did an oil change at 500 miles, and it was super easy to remove all the components. So it's very easy to work on this car. Even though it's a hybrid, the hybrid complications are nothing really to be concerned about. So this is where I stand with the car. Curious to hear what you have to say. I wanted to thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.